Hey there, and welcome to Becoming a Bowhunter. I'm your host, Matty, and join me and our guests as we take the quality of meat back into our own hands. Searching the wild for free-ranged animals to harvest as ethically as we can. I interview a variety of specialists from the bowhunting community to help fast-track your journey as a bowhunter. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this chinwag on one of your favorite topics in the world, bowhunting. Yo, team, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of Becoming a Bowhunter. This episode is all about the Bowhunters Challenge, which is the challenge that I've pieced together to optimize yourself as a hunter. I am not claiming to be the best hunter out there. As a lot of you guys know, I'm only very, very fresh to hunting. But something I have been doing for a long time is helping people with human performance and making them better as individuals. And that's exactly what the Bowhunters Challenge is all about. I've pieced together nutrition programs. I've pieced together training programs. I've pieced together pretty much lifestyle pieces that you do day in, day out that we are going to talk about week in, week out with a new task every week to focus on. And it's a 12-week challenge where we kind of dive into the bits and pieces that will best help you to further you as the engine of your bow hunting experience. So what I mean by that is that we fine-tune our bows. We always worry about what weight our arrows are, what broadheads are best, are they sharp enough, etc., etc. But how often do we actually put in the work and effort that is needed for our bodies? And the biggest thing is that you don't actually have to do that much. Like, yes, it is part of a lifestyle shift, but you're more than likely already eating food. So we just make some adjustments to what food you're eating. You're more than likely already consuming liquid of some form. We just talk about what are the best options to be drinking. You might be doing some exercise. You might not be. You might not have ever stepped into a gym, and that is completely fine. There's options for if you're doing it from home, or there's options for if you're doing it at a gym, or if you've got some form of access to any forms of weight. I talk a lot about using your hunting pack as the accessory for your training as well. And there is a training day once a week, which is like simulating what's kind of like a hunting experience might be like. So you think about in the military, they're constantly put into live fire experiences just so they're used to what that situation might be like. And that's a sort of similar experiences to what I'm doing with the bow. So getting you guys to do some fitness, getting your heart rate jacked up, and getting you to do some shots, and taking some shots with the bow whilst you're shaky, whilst you're a bit out of breath, trying to get you guys used to calming the body and calming the nerves. And that's something that we dive into pretty deep. So I'm excited for what this challenge has, what it can offer you as a bow hunter. I have, like I said, been doing this for a long time. Over 10 years I've been in the fitness industry. We've had our company for close on 6 years now. And in that time, we've helped over 5,000 people. So it's not like it's just a first-time pieced together program for certain individuals. It's something like it's literally what my livelihood has been for the last few years. And it's something that we've helped thousands of people with. And so if you are interested in bettering yourself as a bow hunter, bettering your own abilities, listen to the rest of the podcast and see if it resonates with you and see if it's something that you are interested in doing. If not, skip this episode. That's all good. Peace to everyone. Thanks you guys for the ongoing support. Much love to the whole bow hunting community. And I'm looking forward to, I'm actually going on a little hunt this weekend, so I'm stoked. I'm going on a little family trip / a hunt, so the best type of family trips, right? So we're going out to the little family property, hanging out, got the camper trailer set up and ready to roll, taking the bow, going to get set up, and hopefully either get onto some red deer again, or I'm really actually very excited to try get onto some pigs this year. So they seem to always evacuate the property whenever I'm there. So I'm really hoping they're around. I got the hot tip that one of the best things to do for pigs to get them to come within a few days is to get bags of corn. So like a 20-kilo bag of corn, and get your two or three of the 2-liter red cordial jugs, like the potent stuff, the stuff that's really strong smelling. Get the red cordial, pour it all over the corn and just bury it a little bit under some dust. They said just sit off of that on day 2 or day 3. He's like, they'll be there. They'll be there for sure. So I'm thinking about potentially laying out some bait this time. I don't know if the property owner will be too keen on it or not, but I might try my chances. So, yeah, a little fun fact for you if you're out on a pig property. But yeah, team, I hope you're doing well. I hope the new year is treating you well, and I hope that you're getting out bow hunting. Thanks heaps, guys. Awesome, team. Thanks so much for joining me. What I might just do is just quickly mute you guys, just so I can talk freely, and then if need be, unmute yourselves if you have any questions along the way. But I'll definitely leave time at the end if you'd like to ask any questions, so you can go from there. But pretty much just wanted to talk to you guys about the Bowhunters Challenge. So thank you very much for showing your interest. And for those who couldn't make the call, I hope you're enjoying the recording. But realistically, I just wanted to talk to you about what the whole actual challenge is all about, and really why I kind of created it. And so for a little bit of information on me, because, I mean, you guys have probably all heard me from the Bowhunting podcast. And so you hear me say bits and pieces about what we do here and there. But we've been running a nutrition company for the last 5 years. And over that time, we've helped over 5,000 people. A lot of people who come to us are based like they're wanting to do weight loss program, but we also help a lot of people with performance. Our realm was always in working with athletes, and then we started to spread out wider and go for more like general population type of people, because we realized that what we had was actually very valuable for not only people trying to perform better, but just trying to get a little bit more out of their everyday life. And so what we kind of pieced together, like realistically, how it all started was we were own victims of what we wanted to do, really, because I always just wanted someone to do the work for me. I just wanted someone to give me a meal plan and just said, hey, eat this, do exactly this, and this is the result you'll get. And it wasn't available. So that's when we literally started. And then we had athletes coming to us. We had different people that were working on in regards to performance across many different sports. And then we started taking it to gyms, and then the gyms, it kind of really exploded, and we did a lot of different challenges working with different gyms. And over the last 5 years, we've worked with, like I said, over 5,000 people. But when it comes to bow hunting and the bow hunting world, I think there are some things that we all have in common in regards to the fact that we all love bow hunting. And something that really kind of stands out in regards to when I've gone hunting with other individuals is that some people have the fitness in the mountains and some people just definitely don't. So I don't know if you guys have ever witnessed it yourself, but going up the hills with some people and they stop kind of every chunk of the hill had almost been like, I've definitely gone on one adventure where it felt like we were stopping every 50 meters climbing up the hill. And to me, like that's not really, I think it depends on how you want to go hunting, but there was stop. Hey, you want to have a sit down? Oh, can we just have a chill out? And I think realistically, it kind of really stood out to me as to how much fitter and how much, I guess, respondent I was to be able to climb and run around the mountains, which really kind of stuck out to me. And realistically, this program is more so about making you the best individual that you can be. Like I said, I've worked with lots of people in regards to performance before, and we are the engines to our bows. We do everything with our bows to fine tune them and make sure that they are top of the game. And so I was like, you know what, why not do something that is actually for the bow hunter, designed for the bow hunter, so we as bow hunters can be our best individual selves. So when we're up in the mountains, the only thing that's going to falter is the bow if something goes wrong. And so that's when the program kind of started to piece together. It was actually after I'd been asked so many times when I was interviewing different people on the podcast, as well as people, just conversations that I'd had on Instagram. People just kept asking me, hey, what do you do? How can we do this with bow hunting? Can you create something for me as a bow hunter? And so I started working with a few bow hunters, guys who were willing to jump on the programs that we already had. And then I was like, you know what, stuff this. Like, let's. It's a community that I really love to be a part of. It's something that's helped me a lot in my adult life just in the last few years. And I would love to help more people out within the bow hunting community. So what it's all about is you as an individual, without
without it being like non-realistic. And I think what happens with a lot of programs is people buy a program and it's literally just like a cookie cutter program. It's off the shelf. It's just, hey, do this, do that, and then you'll see results. And I guess where this is really different is that me and my team, we personalize the response or the approach to you. So what that means is that as you come in, you'll have to fill in a questionnaire. We'll have to find out all of this information about you. So then we can actually tailor the nutrition to you. Something that I've gone and done is I've created 12 weeks of different training programs for bow hunters in particular. And I think when it comes to training, so many people think of training as you have to do it in a certain way. You have to really smash yourself day in, day out, and you have to out-train the amount of food that you're eating. And there's a lot of misconceptions when it really comes to training. And what this training program actually looks like is 4 days of training a week. One of the days is with the bow to simulate what the sort of response might be when you're actually out in a hunting situation. So walking up hills, you get huffy and puffy. When you go take a shot, your stress response is through the roof. And so you're huffy and puffy and shaky and things like that. So I've actually trained in or I've brought in a program that's kind of including that. So when you get to that situation, it's not such a surprise to you and that you can actually control it. And all I'm trying to do is teach you guys how to, I guess, deal with a stressful situation and then practice that many, many times like you would if you're in, for instance, like the army or something like that. They would go through drills like this to make sure that when they got into a combat situation, they were ready to roll. And so that's exactly what I'm trying to do with this program. What I've set the program into is, like I said, 4 different days with I kind of explain how you can structure it, how you can base it out. And the program, the training itself, there's 2 different types of methods. So there's one that you can use gym gear with. So if you've got access to a gym, there's one that you can just do from home. So just doing it with no equipment, doing it from home, doing it by yourself. I do also recommend just like using a pack. So your hunting pack, loading it up and using it for weights at different times as well. But the biggest thing is there's not like a 4-hour program. You don't have to go and sit for hours and hours in the gym. Most of the days are like 10 to 15 minute style workouts. Some days the strength programs can go a little bit longer. So I've got 2 strength days that are in there. And they can go a little bit longer. In particular, if you're quite strong, you're going to have to load up to a heavier weight. And that warm-up itself can take a bit of time. And then going for your lifts can be quite tiring and time-consuming, I guess. But I think most likely most people should be in and out of the gym, no matter what strength you're at, within 45 minutes if that's the program you're choosing to use. If you're going with the home workout style, which is just laid out on the app for you or on the program for you, it's literally just you can pretty much pull your timer up, click go, and get started wherever you are. It also comes with full demonstrations as to what each movement is, so you're not left in like lurch just thinking, hey, what am I actually meant to be doing here? As well as warm-ups, which will be there as well, saying, hey, this is a quick warm-up you should do. I myself am actually not all about going for like a 15-minute warm-up before you go for a 15-minute workout. I'm really about, hey, we've got a certain amount of time. Let's spend, say, in this next 2 minutes warming your body up, just getting the joints kind of flowing a bit, and then we'll get moving straight away. So it's really a time. It's not about consuming your whole day, realistically, this program. So to take it back to the nutrition side of things, I think there's kind of 3 ways or 3 sides to the program that I've broken it down into. So what that looks like is it starts off by getting you guys back to the basics. So it really strips down a lot of the food that can cause inflammation within the body. And you guys may have heard the podcast that I did with my wife. I think it's like episode 23 or 33 or something along those lines. Where we talked about inflammation and some of the foods that cause the most inflammation within the body. And so what we do is we try to kind of strip those back and really take you back to basics. It's like eating real proper food to start with, but in portion controlled amounts. So making sure that you're getting enough protein, enough carbohydrates, and enough fats in at every meal and snack. So you literally come to us, you say, hey, this is my weight, this is my size, this is what I do for work. This is the type of thing that I'm doing for exercise, and I know what you're going to start to try to do for exercise based on the program. And so what I can say is, okay, well, based on this information that you've given me, this is the amount of food you need to be eating. We're going to be giving you this many meals, this many snacks that you should try to consume within a day. And it's literally for you, all you need to do is just look at the meal, cook the meal, eat the meal, and you're good to go. So that's kind of the first 4 weeks laid out for you. The next 4 weeks, we really dive into, I guess, restoring some form of balance. So we've really, at the start, we strip it back to bare basics. We start to rebuild your system a little bit up from there. And building a bit of balance, what I'm talking about there is things like going to a party or going out and eating food. Like, how do you do just regular life without blowing up the midline? Or how do you do regular life within still feeling great, and still moving towards being a better bow hunter? And that's what that section's kind of all about. And that's also whilst following a meal plan. So the first 8 weeks, the nutrition's completely covered for you. Where it changes at 8 weeks, or the ninth week essentially, is that we start to teach you guys how to do it yourself. And what I'm going to do is take 2 different paths here. So you guys get to choose your route as to which way you want to go. And the reason for this is because I think different strokes for different folks. Everyone has different preferences as to how they like things to go. And some people find it really hard and really frustrating to use applications and whatever else to track their food, and that's completely fine. So I'm going to give you like an easier method versus a little bit more of a complex method, but one that you can follow that will like keep you going for years on end, if you want to follow that method. So the 2 different methods, one is going to be a carb cycling protocol, which is literally what it's pretty much what every celebrity or every like physique athlete has ever used to try lean down. So it's like their last final shred up sort of program that they use. And all I'm going to teach you guys is how to do it properly. So you're eating higher fat days, you're eating higher carbohydrate days. And what that means is that your body really learns how to use carbohydrates. It really learns how to use the proper fat stores that it's got. So fat stores for fuel. So anything that you have on your body, it just kind of trims it down really quickly. And it teaches the body how to use its own energy systems essentially in a correct way, rather than eating carbohydrates and storing them as fat. Which is what typically happens. Like, you eat carbohydrates, and if you eat too many, then too many for what your body can deal with in that moment, it just says, hey, I'm going to store this for later, and it just goes as adipose tissue. And so that's why we see men as we get older, in particular, like with the beer guts and things starting to pop up, because it's like we're drinking plenty of beers and eating plenty of carbohydrate-based foods, and the body just says, hey, I don't have a reason for this. Like, I don't have use for this anymore, so I'm just going to store it as a little bit of fat for right now. And over years, that might look like 3 kilos a year, 30 kilos every 10 years sort of thing. And we start to blow out and we've lost ourselves all of a sudden. So that program is a bit more of like a hands-on, and we're going to really dive in and teach you how to do that properly. The other method is a carnivore method. And the reason for that, and I don't think that the carnivore method is the proper method or the best method for everyone, but I think it's actually something that can be really worthwhile. And I thought, who else would love a program that has carnivore in it than hunters? So that's where that's going to come into play. So that's kind of the 2 paths you guys get to choose, is like the carb cycling, learn to do it yourself, or the carnivore style, learn to do that and learn to do it properly. And I think that's the biggest thing, is learning to do both of those things properly. Which is what our program has always kind of been about. Our company has always been about. It's about teaching nutrition properly. We really focus on that, back to basics. We really focus on getting your hormones back to a ready state where you guys are actually functioning well as individuals first, before we start to critique or change anything within your diet. That next 4 weeks, building the balance, is about, hey, how do we live proper life, eating regular foods and getting this food kind of back in? How do we reintroduce foods that might be inflammatory to us and see how they actually respond, so you guys can make better choices around that? And then from there, it's kind of like the last 4 weeks is about how do you solidify it and do it long term. So how do you build a bit of a better mindset towards food? And that's a lot of the stuff that I'm kind of really diving into week to week with the food side of things. But I think the other thing that I'm going to do, so each week we'll jump on a call. So it'll be a group call for the first 12 weeks. So if you're a part of it for the first 12 weeks, you guys can just jump on a Zoom call like this, and we'll just give you information based on, hey, this week we're focusing on X. And so it's going to be things like nutrition, movement, sleep, breath, hydration, stress levels, like how to best manage stress, how to also best breathe in stressful situations. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we've kind of done and worked with not only individuals but companies with for years on end now, that is really quite easy stuff to do, but it's things that people just don't have an understanding for, or don't know how to bring it into their day-to-day life. And so what we're doing is each week we're going to layer on a new topic, essentially, and we're going to say, hey, this is the best way that you can approach it. Let's try to practice it by bringing it in. Something I'm actually really excited to share is a meditation with you guys. And this is a meditation. It's a visualization that I did for a long time in the lead up to my actual first kill that I had of a deer. And it was quite fascinating because I could never, I'll explain it kind of what happens in this visualization. You're in the bush and you're out hunting and you come across the animal that you want to go for. And I could never quite completely see the animal. And it was really bizarre when my hunt happened and it actually all came to fruition. I couldn't actually quite fully see the animal. Like, she was behind some leaves and bits and pieces, and it was almost like to a T exactly what I had thought. And so that little visualization is a lot about, like, I guess I think visualization works great, great in many ways in regards to like calling in things that you want to attract into your life. And that was literally like a to a T situation where it worked exactly how it should have. So yeah, I'm excited to share that with you guys later down track. But yeah, there's a whole heap of, essentially we've got 12 different topics that we're covering over on the whole challenge. And so I think realistically, something that I haven't mentioned just yet is that the program, it really becomes more about you guys as an individual and what you want to achieve. And that's where the personalization side of it comes into play. But it's also where the coaching side of it comes into play. So you've got access to me through the calls that we have week in, week out for the first 12 weeks. If you're a member from February 1st onwards, those calls will be recorded for anyone who's a member outside of that time. So you guys will just see the recordings of those presentations, essentially. So if you do sign up straight away, it means that you guys get access to me on the fly on the calls. Outside of that, we will have the ongoing group forum that is a big setup. So when you guys sign up, you'll get a login to this special platform. And the platform just has a full layout of all of the content there. So you'll get bonus content outside of the stuff that we're going to be doing week in, week out, if you ever want to see that. However, realistically, if you want to, like, I think you could just come along, do the training, eat the food, and watch the calls, just those calls that we're going to have week in, week out, and you would get plenty out of the program. But I really want to make sure you guys are really feeling like you are getting a lot of value out of it. That's why I'm adding in those extra bonuses. So if you feel like you've got time to listen to a little bit of me and a little bit more of my wife and stuff that we've kind of curated over the last 5 years, and we've got a lot of different content that we can share with you guys. And so it's only obviously handy tips towards what that task is for the week, but it's just like extra studies or extra information based on what that is all about. Something that is going until this Sunday night is the early bird special, which is $150 off of the course or off of the program, which drops it down to less than $50 a week. And so realistically, you can't even have calls with me in regards to talking business and talking about nutrition for less than that price. And so you guys are getting a heck of a lot of value out of that. When we talk about the meal plans that we sell, they go for $199 each. And you guys are going to be getting 2 of those. Plus, if we go through and do one of those programs like the fasting, the carb cycling and the carnivore, you're looking at like $100 to $200 for each of those consults as well. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot of value in the program, plus the video content, plus the coaching calls, the training program. Like there is definitely a lot of value in there, especially if you get in before that early bird special ends. So that's just kind of saying, hey, I'm ready, I'm keen, I'm good to go. And so that's why I'm kind of rewarding anyone who gets in before then. The official start date is the 1st of February. And from there onwards, if you start after the 1st of February, you'll just kind of kick into gear. It will just automatically say, hey, this is week 1. Here is video 1. If you're within that first 12 weeks, you will get time to jump on those calls no matter when you sign up. But it will boost you forward to whatever week you're on. So for instance, if you jump in at week 1, and so you're there from February 1st, you'll see it as it goes through week by week. However, if you come in at, say, March 1st, what will happen is that you would have missed that first 4 weeks of content. So you'll only get from week 5 calls live. You will still get access to those first 4 weeks of calls week by week as it comes. Lastly, with all of that content, it does only get released weekly for you. So it's not overwhelming. It's not like a big smack in the face. It's ideally, I want you guys to be consuming it. I actually want you guys to get results. Like, that's the whole reason of doing this program. It's because I want the people who come on board to sit down, figure out exactly what their goals are, and work towards getting better results. And that's what the program's all about for you guys or from my side, is to get you guys good results and make you guys the best hunters that we can be. But also make you guys better in life in general, to be honest, because it's like we've got other things, we've got other priorities outside of hunting, although we might not want to, we do have those things. So realistically, it's about making you guys the best individuals we can. So that's what the program is kind of all about. Do you guys have any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself or chuck it in the chat if you do have any questions that you want to ask away.
Yeah, just be just touched on there, Matty, like I haven't seen the actual pricing and how that's going to work, whether it's like per week or like a one-off for the whole 12 weeks, or like you say, there was bits and pieces there about the nutrition is one part, and then the videos and that'll be another part, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so it comes as one whole product as a piece. And so there is different options. The early bird is only available if you were to pay upfront, but it does work out at $5.97 if you pay upfront straight away. And so that's before January 24th. If you choose to do weekly installments instead, the price does jump because you do have to pay for things like just the fees of transactions, et cetera. Plus, we like to reward people for paying up front. So if you commit to the program straight away, we give you a fair chunk of a discount. So weekly installments are $67 for the moment, and monthly installments, so it'd be 12 weekly installments or 3 monthly installments of $267 instead. Early bird is $5.97 if you jump on it straight away. So it's actually, like, realistically, that's cheaper than like a group fitness gym class membership. Essentially, if you were to go to like an F45 or a CrossFit gym or something, you'd pay actually more for that than you would for something like this. And like I said, come and see me one-on-one. It starts at like $175 and goes upwards from there. So realistically, there's a lot of value in this program. And the best thing is that you're going through it with other like-minded people. I think that's what really kind of brings something like this together as a program. So after January 24th, though, that early bird price goes up to $747, I do believe, from memory. Any other questions there, guys?
Yeah, g'day, Matty.
Hey, Rob.
G'day, mate. I guess, this really appeals to me. I've listened to your podcast a lot on the Becoming a Bowhunter podcast, but also your Chief Life, with your wife, Stace, and that. It just feels to me that it really resonates. I've been listening to a lot of this stuff for quite a few years now, and I feel like it's really time for me to sort of actually start following it and clicking it into gear. So, I really I love the idea of all of what you're saying, and the whole Fun 5 and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I guess what I'm saying is I've been a hunter, a rifle shooter on and off for quite a few years, but I'm very new to bow hunting. Is this program still got a lot of benefit for me as a new bow hunter?
Yeah, I think realistically, this program has a lot of benefit for anyone, no matter where you are in your bow hunting, you're in the stages of your career, I guess we'll call it. But something that I'm really working towards is making sure that we're kind of bulletproofing people's shoulders. So I don't know if you guys follow like John Dudley or any of that, and seen some of his videos where he was shooting his bow with his mouth because his shoulder was completely wrecked. And so it's literally like that guy's had, I think, multiple shoulder reconstructions. And I think it's because the work that he does outside of bow hunting has not been it's not been responded for him actually keeping going. So what I'm really trying to do with this program is make sure that we're designing you guys to be only doing accessory work that helps you to be better at bow hunting. There's a lot of things that come down to the body. Essentially, we've got like 4 main connectors on the upper body. When you think about it, you've got your chest and your lats. A lot of the stuff that we do is using both of those muscles. When we're drawing back a bow, it's a press and a pull. And what we're really working on is making sure that you're in a good position. I think so many people have terrible posture right now. And so the program in itself will help people out with that. What we're really trying to do is help to build people's lats and get people into a good position just through that program alone. Outside of that, we're also working on a lot of endurance in regards to muscular endurance to make sure that you guys can walk through the hills. Muscular and cardiovascular endurance. So one muscular being that you can, for instance, walk up hills for days on end, but also the endurance to keep going for all day if you needed to. So yeah, I think that's a great question, Rob. And I think realistically, I've tried my best to make sure that this program it meets you with where you're at, but at the same time, you can repeat the 12 weeks over and 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 over, and you'll only get better from doing that. And realistically, each time when you re-hit it, you're going to hit it in a different way because you'll only be fitter, faster, stronger to be able to do it in a better way. So I think that is the other thing to really bring into home or really knock home with this is it's not only about the 12 weeks. Like I'm talking about lifestyle practices that will help you guys out for life. Like I'm not talking about just making a one-off 12-week investment and then you're done. This is literally things you can take away with you for life. And there's programs that you can revisit for life, both with the nutrition side of things and with the training side of things, but also with learning how to actually do that nutrition side of things, like teaching you guys your own way of doing it properly at the end. You've got the content there, so you can visit it later, even if you're not interested in it now. It's something that you can revisit later and say, hey, hold up, what is that carb cycling? How do I actually do it? How do I figure it out? Where's the booklets and everything that I've been given from Matty and Chief Life or the Bowhunters Challenge, and how do we piece it together? So I think that's really important. It actually just brought a story to mind. I didn't actually know the guy. It was like a friend of a friend, and he had something go down where he was like, I think it was like an extreme diabetic or something like that. And essentially what happened is he never made time for his own health or his own fitness. He just kept putting it off. And then all of a sudden he had this massive attack. I'm pretty sure he became diabetic and like almost lost a leg or something like that. And he had to get these transfusions every day. So he'd go into the hospital and he had to get, I'm pretty sure it was like a blood transfusion of some sort, which doesn't really make sense to me as to why I was a diabetic. So the story's kind of a bit broken. That's my fault. But what happened is he had to go in and get these transfusions every day, like injections where they're putting him on a drip. And it took him 4 hours every single day. And he just said, I wish, like he was talking to his friends, like, I just wish that I made time for myself earlier on, because right now I'm making time to come into a freaking hospital every single day and spend 4 hours here every single day. It's the last thing I want to be doing. I just wish I'd taken a little bit of time to start with, and it would have made a big difference. So yeah, just kind of reminded me of that story. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's an investment in your health in the long term. It's not just about that 12 weeks. Yes, that 12 weeks is great because you're motivated and starting with a group and going through it with a crew. But it's really about taking that stuff and taking it with you for then life. Any other questions at all, guys? Just going to read over my notes real quick and make sure I've actually touched on everything. Yeah, I think that's about it. So realistically, the program is all available. It's literally just on the bowhunterschallenge.com. So I'm just going to, for some reason, on Ben's name privately, everyone. So it's just bowhunterschallenge.com. And so what happens is essentially you guys will, once you've signed up, You'll get a few different emails. You get a video pop up from me and stuff explaining what the next steps are. You'll fill in a questionnaire and we'll pretty much get the ball rolling. So we'll get your meal plan out to you and stuff, have you guys hopefully underway before the 1st of February. So you've actually got time to prepare and get everything rolling. One of the big things is on the platform, there's a lot of information about like, hey, this is how you cook bulk food. This is how you cook for the family. This is the way that I would recommend cooking meats, or way that I recommend doing this. I think something very important to mention is that game meat is very easily used in the program. And I explain in the program, I don't actually offer it up on the meal plan as such. I won't say like, hey, have venison here or have rabbit here or anything like that, because it's not obviously as easy to just go and stock up on that. But what we'll say is like, this meat you can swap for this amount. If you've got chicken, you can swap this for this amount of venison instead. And so, yeah, it's very straightforward. To start with, the program is very interchangeable. So what I mean by that is we've tried to make it as easy as possible. So there's many different breakfast options, many different lunch options, many different dinner options. And essentially you guys just get to say, hey, I really like this breakfast option. And if you wanted to, you can follow that every single day of the week. Likewise for the lunch and likewise for the dinner. Something I did actually forget to mention is that we're actually giving you guys, anyone who signs up to the Bowhunters Challenge as well, we're giving you guys access to our Chief Recipes program, which is like a library full of many, many recipes. I don't actually know how many are in there now. It's well over 100. And each week we release 4 new recipes in there. It's just like a how to cook video. It's literally, how to cook video. There's a PDF. There's like a download if you wanted to, so you can just save it for later. There's the full recipes. There's the amounts in regards to how much you should be eating. So we've got male and female portions, and that's all explained a little bit more. So how you can actually eat that amount later and fit that into your meal plan. And it's broken down into meals, snacks, condiments. So there's just so many different recipes there that you guys can choose from, as well as just having your meal plan. So realistically, it's going to give you guys a heap of variety, but it's going to get you straight to the point as to this is how much you guys should be eating. Going from there. So I think that's pretty much it from me. Is there any other questions? So once again, it's bowhunterschallenge.com. Bowhunterschallenge.com. I did once again just send it to Ben privately. Everyone in meeting. There we go.
Not so much a question, Matty, but just again, just reiterating, what I've listened to on your podcast, and just your not only your passion for nutrition and fitness, but your passion for bow hunting. And mate, I'm keen. I'm in. So
awesome, man. Thank you.
Done deal, mate.
Awesome. No, that's so cool. Thank you so much, Rob. I'm looking forward to working with you, mate. It's been good talking over Instagram. You know what? Actually, that's something that I've really loved about the bow hunting community is it's very welcoming. And the amount of conversations that you can have, like, I think, Kyle, you're the only one that I haven't really talked to that much on Instagram, but Ben, we've definitely had conversations. Like we had a big conversation over the talk about the dogs, I remember. And actually, Kyle, we have had a fair bit of a chat. I was just looking at
I was thinking back like when I first started shooting hay bales, and then then we ended up shifting up to Queensland.
Yeah, that's right.
Late 2019. So then that's been another adventure trying to learn everything again up here, and that whole not having access that you had down home and all that sort of stuff. So, we've had a few chats there. But this is definitely moving into a different realm. And, we've got the whole the hard thing with, like, I'm doing F45 at the moment, so I understand totally with the costing and that. But the hard thing, as you would know now, with, like, your wife and kids and all that, whenever you go to, like, a meal plan type option, then – what are you going to do for the kids when you're going to do like one meal for yourself, or you're going to try and, like, say you're trying to bring everyone on the journey with you almost. So you've got to do something that's
touch on that right way, actually, because it's really, really a valuable point. And so something that
I've got kids.
I've got kids. I've got a kid, and realistically, not kids, but realistically, the way to approach it is ideally we don't want to be making the whole family eat different foods. That can be a little bit harder if you've got really fussy eaters, but finding the foods that they do like that are going to be also usable for you is the best way around that. And then what we want you to do is cook in bulk. So realistically, the way that I teach you on the program to start with is like, hey, do a slow cook hunk of meat. Like get 1 to 2 kilos of meat out, do a whole tray of vegetables, get your carbohydrates, like an extra slab of like rice or something like that in there if you need to, sweet potato, whatever we're going to use. Make sure you've got your whole fats on the table as well. Ideally, when we serve it up, we want the kids to be able to serve for themselves, because we shouldn't be weighing or measuring for kids at all. Ideally, that you are eating the same foods as they are and the same foods that your partner is eating. And so they get to just pick from the food selection on the table. They get to just take from that and choose what they want. They build their own little puzzle on their plate and eat away. Whereas you just say, okay, well, I know that I'm weighing, measuring my food, or I'm understanding more as to what my portion control is. So you go ahead and you portion out your food a little differently. And that's the only real difference. Realistically, you should still be cooking and enjoying meals with the whole family. Like that is realistically the whole point of this, is trying to make it as much of a lifestyle piece to move forward with them. Just the shift is that you're potentially weighing and measuring until you get a full understanding as to how much food you should be eating. And then I really recommend using like that eyeball method instead. So it's like, hey, I know that my meat should be this size. I know that my carbohydrates should be this size. My fat should be this size, and roughly trying to hit that day in, day out. I just recommend getting the scales back in maybe once every week, because your eyes definitely get pretty big pretty easily. The other thing that you just actually remind me about, Kyle, was the side of if you've actually got a training program already. And I think realistically, I think that's great. I think going to something like an F45, a CrossFit gym, or a functional fitness gym, going to a PT or something like that, that's great, because it's going to give you motivation. You've got your community there, and I'm not going to try to take that away from you. I would say just make sure you're not doing both programs. Like if you're going to choose to do that, go ahead. I think that's great. And I think the whole program will really complement that as a piece. But I would say don't make sure you're not double loading in training, because that's something where people go wrong, is they just say, oh, hold up, I need to do this and this and this and this. And they go and they train their asses off, and then they come out with an injury, or they just become broken individuals because they're fatigued, like chronic fatigue or whatever. Like it's not something we want to achieve. We really want to get you to like that peak position. So I'd say if you've got a training program, like you've said, Kyle, or like anyone who's listening at a later time, stick to it. If that's what you really enjoy, then stick to it and just use the rest of the program as a piece. The one thing I'd say, if you can, is maybe just trial out a few of the hunting simulation days, where you get to practice running around and playing with your bow a bit, just so you see what it's like when you're a bit shaky or a bit out of breath and shooting your bow.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Matty. I think the good thing is, like, although the F45 is a relatively new thing for me, but like you say, this seems to align better. And I think, like Rob touched on, is like this seems to just align a little bit better with what I guess where we're at in life and all that stuff. So it's probably, what the option where you go, well, if I'm getting everything you want to get out of this program, that you don't necessarily need to do both, like you said. So yeah,
definitely. Like I said, I don't want to take anyone away from any communities or anything like that. I think if you've got a community that you're a part of and it's serving you well, then keep going. Like I think that stuff is great. Like I still go to the gym, like a group situation, just because it's good for easy motivation. That's for sure. Training by yourself sometimes can be a little bit tough, and that's completely fine as well. I guess realistically, this program is kind of designed in regards to, you've got your online support to say, hey, what happened today? Why did I not train? Or why did I train? And how did it go? And kind of work on that. You've got the crew to kind of fall back on a little bit. Awesome, guys. All righty. Well, I think that's it's pretty much a wrap. Ben, do you have any questions or anything you wanted to add in?
Well, I've never been to a gym, so you got your work cut out with me.
That's all right.
Work's physically demanding.
Yeah.
But, I was a bit apprehensive. Like when your post sort of come up the other night, I was like, I'm getting on board. Like I literally went and got my credit card. I'm doing it. And then that bit of anxiety, not anxiety, but...
the comfort coffin.
Yeah,
so you got comfortable where you are. You're like, that looks a bit hard.
Not hard, like...
uncomfortable, maybe.
I know I need to step up for myself and my family.
Yeah.
Like, like everyone would sort of benefit from, having a healthier partner or dad or, so I know I need to sort of step up and do it for myself and everyone else. But, as a extra benefit when I'm out, like you said, in the mountains, it just makes it that much easier,
Yeah.
So
I think
I'm keen.
That's great, mate. That's really good. I think something to add to that is you talked about like work being quite physical already, and essentially you've got your capacity as to what you can reach right now. So your physical capacity kind of hits the peak of work and whatever else that you do right now, and all we're trying to do is lift that physical fitness, the health, everything. So all of a sudden the physical work, it doesn't seem like that much of a big challenge anymore. Kind of day in, day out, you start to feel better. You've got more energy. You're sleeping better. Like all of these things pieced together, and your day to day that seems like full capacity right now is all of a sudden like it's 50%. And so you've got that extra boost you can kind of keep moving with. And it's quite funny. We often get like, oh my God, I didn't know I could feel this good. Like that is a common like email that I will get from our members. We've got a Facebook group that's live for Chief Life, and we always have comments like that, and like, oh my God, I've never slept so good. Just different responses like that. And it's really cool. And for me, it's very rewarding because really we're changing people's lives and have been for the last few years. And it kind of keeps us in business, to be honest, in regards to like, that's the driver for us, is making people's lives better.
Yeah. Top stuff. Excellent.
Yeah. Cool, man. Cool. So thanks heaps for joining me, guys. I really appreciate it. Would you like me to send you guys the link individually? I can flick it through. Yeah, cool. I'll flick it through for you now, and you just click straight through to the early bird, especially if that's the one you want to take, unless you want to go with the weekly or monthly payments. You guys can do it all through there. And yeah, I look forward to getting started with you guys properly on the 1st of February will be first initial kickoff date. There'll be more information to come about when the calls are going to be and everything like that from there.
Love it.
Good stuff. All right. Thanks heaps, guys. Really appreciate your time.
All right, mate. Take care.
Awesome. Talk soon, guys.
Yeah.
That wraps up this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining us, team. If you did have any topics, questions, or you wanted to suggest a guest for Becoming a Bowhunter, you can send me an email at matty@becomingabowhunter.com. If you're enjoying the show or you've enjoyed in particular episodes, please do me a solid and share it around with your friends. If you are not already, please hit the subscribe button, as the more subscribers we get, the higher the podcast gets ranked, and that definitely helps out for showing it to other individuals. If you are not already following me on Instagram, it's at becomingabowhunter.podcast, and on YouTube, it's Becoming a Bowhunter. Get out, team, fling some arrows, get that practice in, and walk those yards in the paddocks until you find those critters. That is it for now, but not the last time that you'll hear from Becoming a Bowhunter.